Howdy folks, and welcome back to War Thunder with the mighty Jingles. And do not adjust your sets, that is a War Thunder arcade battle. I know I said I was staying away from arcade battles from now on. However, well, a couple of reasons why you see me fly an arcade battle here. I have been playing a lot of realistic battles over the course of the last 4 or 5 days. None of them have been good enough to put on YouTube, but, you know, it's only a matter of time. And this isn't just the first arcade battle I've flown in 4 or 5 days. This is the first arcade battle domination match I've even had in about the last 6 or 7 days. So I'm going for a sneaky airbase capture at the first, and it looks like I am in fact not going to kill myself. Yay! So, you know, positive start. So anyway, why arcade again? Well, in the comments to the last video that I put up, people were making a lot of very useful suggestions. And first and foremost among those suggestions was, for God's sake, Jingles, stop playing high rank battles. They suck. And you're absolutely right. Down at mid to low level is where the fun, certainly for me, in War Thunder Arcade has always been. And one of the other pieces of advice that was given was, stop trying to play ground strike missions. Now, you can't choose whether or not you're going to get into a ground strike match, but you can choose whether or not you take part in it. And so, after quitting back to the hangar at the start of multiple ground strike arcade matches, I eventually got my first domination map in a week. Oh, that was close. Oh, no, get the hell out of there, break off, go high, wing over, dive down on him, get away from your teammates. So, anyway, here I am, back in arcade, actually enjoying myself again, purely and simply because I am just refusing to play ground strike matches, and I'm not flying anything that gets a battle rating of higher than 3.7. Now, since I put the last War Thunder video up, I've flown about 8 or 9 realistic battles, and they've all been pretty terrible, but, you know, not because of the bad game mode, just because I suck. And this is the first arcade battle I've flown. Hey, a kill. And what I'm flying here is the MiG-315BK, and this is the first time I have ever flown this aircraft. It is completely fresh out of the box, stock, no upgrades researched on it whatsoever. It's a rank 2 Russian fighter with a battle rank of 2.3. Its armament is pretty bad. It has 3 machine guns, no cannons. Oh, hang on a second. Fritzy is trying to be sneaky. Yeah, not sneaky enough for Comrade Jingles. Fair play to this guy. He's flying an HE-51 in a solid rank 2 or 3 domination map. Trying to go for a capture is about the best he could hope to achieve. Oh, I'm being shot at. The tail of this aircraft was actually made out of wood. It was very light and very, very, very weak. And where's he gone? I didn't even see. Oh, there he is. Oh, you cheeky little bastard. Okay, I'm not going after him. There's far too many aircraft over there. He'd be dead by the time I got there. Yes, but the MiG-3 was a... The Russians actually had about 1,000 of these things operational at the start of Operation Barbarossa in 1941. Unfortunately, while these were one of the best aircraft the Russians had in 1941, they were still pretty bad. And there's another one going for our airfield. And he's dead. They were outclassed by Bf-109Fs in just about every category. They were better than the Bf-109F at high altitude, even though they had a pretty horrible climb rate. The only problem was most of the combat in the Eastern Front took place at medium to low altitude. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem. And of course, you know, me being me, I jumped straight into this aircraft without doing any reading up on what it was like. These little buggers are determined to take this airbase. There's another one, and another one. Oh, BB-1. They're quite tough. And I only have machine guns in this thing. One of the other problems that the Soviet Air Force had with their MiG-3s in 1941 was that they were very, very different from the majority of the Russians' older aircraft that the pilots were trained to fly. And these things were rushed into production. And so they ended up having a lot more MiG-3s than they had pilots trained to fly them, and they were tricky to fly. And that didn't really help their chances when they were going up against the highly experienced pilots of the Luftwaffe. So a lot of the problems regarding the performance of the MiG-3 operationally in 1941 weren't just due to the tricky characteristics of the aircraft, but because the pilots just had no clue how to fly them, and they were going up against extremely good Luftwaffe pilots. This guy just will not die. Oh wait, yeah, he's lost control. He's gone down. There we go. Got him. Right, now, hopefully that's dissuaded them from going after this airbase, and I can actually get over there into the fight. Although, you know, to be fair, there's been no shortage of things to shoot at over here either. But anyway, the MiG-3. The problems that Russian pilots had with these things weren't just limited to the quality of the opposition and whether or not they'd actually been trained to fly these things. Production quality, as you would probably expect of early war Russian production standards, was not good. So many shoddy quality aircraft were being delivered in 1941 to frontline Air Force regiments that an investigation was launched by the People's Commissariat of Defence, and on the 31st of May 1941 they found that the Russian Air Force Research Institute, which was responsible for monitoring the quality of production aircraft, had been found criminally negligent. The Major General in charge of the institute was actually, quite literally, taken outside and shot. So, yeah, shooting the head of the Research Institute certainly cleared up the production problems and ensured that the MiG-3s that were reaching the frontline aviation regiments were working as intended. Unfortunately, it was still a MiG-3, and working as intended still wasn't really very good. In fact, by the 1st of October, bearing in mind that when Russia was invaded in 1941, they had just under 1,000 of these aircraft in frontline service. And by October 1941, right when the Wehrmacht was knocking on the doors of Moscow, less than 300 of these things remained in Soviet Air Force squadrons, with the rest all having been withdrawn and relegated to service in the Soviet Air Defense Force. Between the 10th of July 1941 and the 1st of October 1941, there were only 512 MiG-3s in service across all branches of the Soviet military, which was 140 fighters less than they had on the 10th of July, despite deliveries of over 1,000 aircraft in the intervening period. Where did all the rest go, Jingles? They got shot down, boys and girls. They got shot down because they were shit. They weren't as good as the Bf-109, the pilots weren't trained to fly them, the aircraft that were being delivered were of dubious manufacturing quality, and they kept trying to throw them into roles for which they were totally unsuited. On the 22nd of June 1941, when Operation Barbarossa kicked off, the Soviet Air Force had less than 250 Sturmovix in operational service. And within a couple of weeks, most of those had been shot down. And since the overwhelming need, as far as Soviet military aviation was concerned in 1941, was for ground attack aircraft, that led to aircraft like the poor old MiG-3 being rushed into the fighter bomber role, for which it was completely unsuitable. Below 4,000 meters, this thing was a pig. And the pilots paid the price. Not flown this thing in realistic battles yet, where, as I understand it, you really do need to keep it high, fast and straight. But here in Arcade, where you've got much more generous flight models, you know, it's not bad. I've actually had fun with this thing. And I didn't do too badly, especially considering, remember, this thing is fresh out of the box. Not one single upgrade researched on it so far, which is what makes what you're about to see all the more hilarious. So, third place in the team, 4 kills, 2 assists. Nothing special about that game. a decidedly average match. Premium account, double XP, first win of the day. How many upgrades do you think I managed to unlock? Well, there's one. And there's two. I have to think about this. There we go, there's three, and that's all of the rank 1 upgrades. And we'll go for that. There's 4, there's 5. And I wasn't sure how many research points I had to mess around with at this point, so I'm thinking about what to go for next. And there's 6. And there's 7. And there's all of the rank 2 upgrades. Remember, I've never flown this thing before. This is one game, and it wasn't that good a game. And there's another one. And there's another one. And there's all of the rank 3 upgrades. I was not actually aware, while I was clicking these buttons, exactly how many research points I'd earned from flying that one arcade battle. 9,800. It really is worth flying your first victory of the day with every nation, because the rewards are just ridiculous. That is every single upgrade on the MiG-315 unlocked, with the exception of the covers, and they're 80% done, possibly even 90%. Oh, War Thunder, you so silly. Of course, fun though it may be, and it is fun, flying lower tier aircraft like this is the least efficient way of unlocking your higher tier aircraft, but I really don't care. I can't remember the last time I flew a rank 4 or 5 aircraft that I actually enjoyed playing in arcade or realistic battles, so I'm going to be sticking to this kind of level from now on, in both Arcade Domination only and realistic battles. And hopefully I'll stop sucking in realistic, and sooner or later I'll actually be able to show you something worth watching from realistic battles as well. In the meantime, take care out there folks, watch your 6, and I'll catch you next time.